tag that's been going around YouTube recently, and it's called My First Time, which is it's pretty self-explanatory, and there's kind of a lot of questions, so I'm just going to get into it really quick. Um, I saw a bunch of YouTubers doing this video, but I was watching Abers07, who is kind of like, she's not like a beauty guru. She does a bunch of different stuff. I love her channel. Go check her out because she's great. And then she got some of the questions from Tyler Oakley and like a bunch of other YouTubers. So I'll link some people down below. Um, my first word I actually don't know. My mom or my dad, they don't remember. So I'm just gonna say it was probably something generic like mom or dad or mama or something like that. I don't really know. First date. I actually don't count this as my first date because it was just a terrible experience and I've like blocked it out of my mind. And it doesn't really count because nothing ever really came up from it. But I want to say when I was probably in like eighth grade, this kid had like messaged me on Facebook, and we have a few mutual friends, so we just like talked or whatever. And in eighth grade, I was like really lonely and like had very poor self esteem. So I was just kind of like talking to this kid. And I was like, oh yeah, someone finally wants to like talk to me and stuff like that. So we like talked, and then one day he was like, hey, do you want to go to Target? Like that was his idea of a date. So I was like, oh sure. And like I had no idea what I was in for. So like we go and we just like walked around Target. Like that was the date. And then we sat down like in the little cafe area and like started talking. At this point I could totally tell I was not into it. And he was like super into it. He's like, hey, can you come over and like meet my parents and stuff? And like eighth grade me like freaked the fuck out. So I like went and I was like, oh, I got a text from my sister. I have to call her. I'll be right back. So I called my sister and was like, hey, someone needs to come pick me up because I just have to go. And then I was like, oh my gosh, sorry, I have to go home and babysit like right now. And he's like, oh, that's okay. Let me walk you out. So he literally walked me out to the car, which my mom was sitting in our car. Like, oh yeah, maybe we should like get together sometime. Like, I can meet your mom more and like all that stuff. And then I was like, oh, sure, bye. And then we just stopped talking. So that was my first date, but that I honestly don't count because it was a terrible experience. It was my first kiss. I actually haven't had one yet, which I mean, shut the fuck up. I don't care. Whatever. And first boyfriend, as you may or may not be able to guess, haven't had one either. So that's a thing. And honestly, like after living in the same town for 20 years, you run out of people. And if people are going to be interested in you, they would be by now. So I mean, I'm not torn up about it, but whatever. Now to some questions I can actually answer. First pet. I had a fish. His name was Sharky, and we had him for a long time. I think this is before I had any siblings, so like the first 3 years of my life. Um, but yeah, ever since then I had fish, and then in like 2010, I think, finally got a dog, and his name's Russell. He is a miniature pincher fox terrier, like chihuahua looking dog. He is my angel, and I love him so much, and he's just the cutest little thing. My first fear. For me and my cousin were born less than a day apart, so we had a conjoined first birthday party. And at this birthday party, there were not only was Barney there were also clowns there, and I would not go near the clowns. Like I didn't care, like if they were there for me or whatever. I wanted nothing to do with them, and I still hate clowns. I hate them. I know that's like a common fear, but I just don't even go there. My first job was actually I worked there for 2 years from my sophomore to the end of my senior year in high school. I worked at an Ace Hardware, which was an experience. I was lucky to have a job and like I worked there for 2 years, so like that was nice having extra money in like school and stuff. But I know nothing about hardware. I still don't really know much after working there for 2 years, and it was dirty and like I don't know. I worked with like a bunch of older guys, like dad got like old. I don't know. It was just a strange experience and a strange first job for someone like me, who like does it is the total like girly girl. I don't know. it wasn't a terrible job, obviously, because I didn't like quit or storm out, but I just didn't like it, and I don't want to go back to that job. So. First car. Here's a story. So, I had probably turned, I was about to turn 16 or maybe 17, I don't remember. But I hadn't gotten my license yet. But my dad, being the peach that he is, he said, "Oh, I got you this car for your birthday." It was just like an older, like black sedan. It was nothing fancy. I was like, "Oh my gosh, cool! I can't wait to get my license, and then I'll have this car." Well, it turns out I like waited a little longer to get my license, and then he sold it back to the person who bought it from. So my birthday present was a car that was taken away from me, and I haven't had a car since then. So that was my first car, which is that's a story I love to tell at parties. You know, makes people feel good. um, but yeah, first cell phone was my mom had an old like Sony Ericsson brick phone. I'll insert a picture. But she got a new phone and I got her old one when I was probably in like sixth grade. So I like had choir and stuff after school. Yeah, did the job at the time. There's nothing wrong with it. First CD. What I can remember is Britney Spears' first CD was probably the one I had, or at least the one that I had listened to the most. Because I remember I went to her concert in probably first or second grade, so that had to have been one of the first CDs that I owned. That, or I had one of the now, that's what I call music CDs, but it was like one of the first ones that ever came out. But yeah. First concert. I actually haven't been to a bunch of concerts, so I'm just gonna list them all real quick. My first concert was Britney Spears, probably in like second grade. I went with my mom, and I was like a big Britney fan. Then probably in fifth grade, I went to see Avril Lavigne, and I guess on that tour, Fall Out Boy opened for them, who like I didn't like till I was in like eighth grade, but knowing that I've seen them was like kind of cool. And then I went to like a smaller concert of this like kind of Christian rock group that my best friend in like sixth grade was into called Superchick. I went to like their like CD party concert, and that was really fun. And then last summer I went to LeakyCon, which is a Harry Potter convention, and like at night they would have a bunch of different like musicians, like Wizard Rock people, and then people like Megan Conscious, who I'm a huge fan of. Shout out, go check out her channel. It'll be linked below. But I saw a bunch of people there. Then this summer I saw my probably two favorite musicians ever. I saw Darren Criss, who is on Glee and also did a Harry Potter musical. I saw his show in Chicago. I actually met him and got a picture with him, which will be inside the video. But that was like I was third row center. It was crazy. I had so much fun. That was the best show I've ever been to, and it was just the best experience I've ever had. And then later on this summer, I saw Fun at the Taste of Chicago, and they were great. And Nate Ruess is such a cutie. Like, they were so good. And I was, again, probably like 10 rows back. It was an outdoor show, and it was huge, and it was so much fun. Fun, get it? My first plane ride was actually in 2011 in the spring. Um, my high school choir, we went to New York City for like a week. Um, so that was my first plane ride, except for like when I was like just newly born. I guess like my parents and I went to Florida, but I have no recollection of that. But my first plane ride was a terrible experience. So before a couple of days before this trip, I got the sickest I've ever been in my life. I had probably like a sinus infection, and like my ears were completely plugged, and like I like couldn't breathe, and my eyes were watering, and I had like severe allergies with the sinus infection or something crazy like that. So as you can imagine, an airplane already like fucks up your ears and stuff, but like I was so nauseous and so like just out of it, and there was so much turbulence on the way there. It was awful. And like even like the first days in New York, like I couldn't wear makeup because like my eyes were constantly tearing up, and like I just felt miserable. The time we got to like go out and explore the city, I just stayed in bed, which is terrible because I enjoyed that trip so much, and every day I like want to go back to New York. Um, but yeah, the plane ride back was fine because I was better and everything was smooth. So yeah, first video was actually a recreation of a tutorial that All That Glitters was a beauty guru. She did like a rainbow eyeshadow look, and I think I made like a video response to that of like myself doing it or something strange. I think it's like deleted or I privated it. Um, but yeah, those are all my firsts. So y'all should do this if you watch it. And all right, bye everybody. Say bye, Russell. Say bye bye.